Ladies and gentlemen, I can't help but get super excited. I've been working on this section for a while, and the next section is called Swords and Shields. All right, so if you have been with us in the Steel Mace Flow team for a while, you have probably swung the mace like a sword. This next section, well, let's talk about this. This next section, it's a way to strengthen the user in a couple different ways. Anybody who's going to be swinging a mace like a sword is going to have their tendons pulled on. Now, swinging the mace like a sword, there is a tremendous amount of momentum that goes into the mace. And that momentum is the thing that pulls on our elbows, on our fingers. You know, it really torques on the tendons. So we've developed a strength training protocol, landmarks for the one-handed system of steel mace. All right? Serena, we're going to get into the landmarks that we've already covered, 1, 2, and 3. But we're going to look at them with the new lens. What does it look like when the mace artist uses one hand? By the end of this section, you are going to be able to know some landmarks that will help us a little bit later in movement design to help you coach somebody in a couple different ways in the sword swing section. Not only is it going to give you the cues you need to make you very proficient and teach very proficiently, but it is going to strengthen the tendons of the mace artist. And I've run into a ton of people who swing the mace as aggressively as they can, and they start to develop elbow shearing. So for me, I said, we got to get rid of that, and we came up with this system. Now, we talked a little bit about anatomy. We talked about like some tendons and what the mace can do to them, and what we're trying to do is get rid of any unwanted wear and tear. But it's important that the mace artist swings the mace like a sword, specifically for causing emotion. Now, most of the time, Serena, when we have our hands on the mace, especially in level 1, we have 2 hands onto our mace, and we are applying whatever emotions we're going through to that mace. For instance, we might be grabbing the mace, and we might have had a bad day, and we're doing everything we can to tear that mace apart. You have to think about the mace as like a conduit. It is absorbing that negative feeling, and some days I crush my mace, I rip it apart. Whatever I do to it, it is going into that mace. The mace, I like to think of as a tuning fork. Not only can it absorb, but it can shoot out energy. And I've seen it firsthand. Whenever you see somebody do a sword swing with a beautiful rhythm and a beautiful timing, it will move audiences. Now, it's okay if you can do the moves fast, but the trick is the mace wants to move fast. So being able to control the mace and make it move slow, the opposite end of moving fast, will draw in your audience even more. All right, Serena. A little bit later on, we'll get into what that looks like. But for now, let's just go over the landmarks of the swords and shields. The first thing we're going to learn is a shield posture. Serena, you're going to, let's pick your mace up and get into mid-guard. All right, guys, this is what I like to refer to as mid-guard. I like to think of this as a shield. It's somewhere around mid. Now, let me ground you. Let me take you somewhere you've already been before. If I rotate this mace to a horizontal plane, it is essentially landmark 2. Well, what does landmark 2 look like with one hand? Serena, I'm going to support you. Go ahead and take that hand off. We can totally just take one hand off and make landmark 2 look like so. Or we can let the mace tail drop, and now the mace is in a vertical position in landmark 2. Now, we don't have time to cue vertical position landmark 2. Instead, we're just going to call this mid-guard. Serena, go ahead and do a prayer switch and go to the opposite side. Serena, you're going to keep going from back and forth from left side to right side. You at home, you're going to do the same thing, but we're going to pay attention to our flow like water cue. Serena, throw your mace from left side to right side. Yes, water can crash. Move slow. Water can flow. Or water can stay still. Serena, as you're passing the mace, us as coaches, we're going to see how strong Serena is in controlling her mace and her emotions by the measurement of how much energy is coming through the tail of the mace. Serena, you're doing a really good job of pulling your shoulders back to lock in place. And at the same time, Serena is holding her standing structure. Serena, that is a good job. Go ahead and set that guy down for me. Guys, since this is such an easy transition, prayer switch, mid-guard, prayer switch, mid-guard, you're gonna do 50 reps on each side. So that's a total of 100 alternating reps from left side to right side. Serena, go ahead and face me. Go ahead and start your mid-guard prayer switch. Guys, notice that Serena is not letting the mace pull her arm down, but she's staying parallel from elbow to pinky. It's tricky because the arm comes up, and what wants to happen is as you pull back, the wrist stays higher than the elbow. Serena, you actually need to lower your wrist. That's it right there. Prayer and side. Prayer and side. All right, Serena, so they got 100 reps alternating. Guys, we will see you in the next section.